It's been a very, very long year. It's been a very heartfelt year. It's been a year where we have felt everything imaginable, and it doesn't even count as a sliver to what our people in Gaza have faced. It doesn't count as a sliver to anything that they have gone through. So when we say silence is betrayal, again, we're not talking about the West. The West has been quiet for 76 years of occupation. What makes us think that the last year is going to make the West wake up? What makes us think that the last year is going to make the West stand up for the people in Gaza and the people of Palestine and end this genocide and end the siege on Gaza and end the occupation? Why are we always so catered to the people in the West? When we say silence is betrayal, sure, yes, we do mean the people in the West, but predominantly we mean the Arabs. We mean the people across the region, across the Middle East, predominantly the Muslims. We always say our cause is not just for Muslims. Our cause is for everybody. But those who are Muslim know that there is an added obligation on you to make sure you stand up and raise your voice. To make sure you stand up and do something when the people that look like you, that speak like you, that follow the same deen as you, hear you. They understand that there is somebody out there that is using their voice, that is standing up against injustice time and time again. So when we come into these streets and we talk about Islam, it's because we see the people in Gaza and we see their steadfastness. We see, and I'm going to say this time and time again until it's screwed inside your brains. The people in Gaza, their steadfastness is something that we all must learn from. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim or not. Just because I'm Muslim, I'm not seeing the same dead bodies that you are. Just because I'm Muslim, I'm not seeing people burning alive. Just because I'm Muslim, I'm not seeing the mother pick up the remains of her child. Just because I'm Muslim, I don't see the father yelling out for help. Just because I'm Muslim, you're going to look at me differently. We see the same things. We see the exact same tragedies. We've seen the exact same genocide. We've seen the exact same brutal occupation. The only difference between myself and you is that I have been attentive for the entirety of this occupation, whereas you've only woken up the last year. So don't shame us Muslims for being so proud of who we are. Don't shame us Muslims for being so powerful with our voices. We have an obligation. We have an obligation. We have a tie. We have a tie to Al-Aqsa. It's a shame if you're a human being and you're not speaking. But if you're a Muslim, yes, I am going to look at you differently because you know this obligation. And then we see, like in the Sinai, where you see the ships crossing with the Israeli flags on it. Shame!
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 So when we say silence is betrayal, we're not necessarily just talking about the people. We're talking about the governments in power, the governments that will ban the flag, the governments that will ban the kufiyyah, the governments that will shame the people for using their voice, the governments that will stand against the people of Palestine. And these are the so-called Arab leaders. These are the so-called Muslim leaders. So when we see people like this, it should make us want to speak up even more. People ask me, it's been over a year of this genocide, and you guys are still protesting. The genocide hasn't ended. Why are you guys still protesting? What's the point? What's the point anymore? And I tell them the exact same thing over and over. Whether it's 5 of us, whether it's 10, whether it's 100, whether it's 1,000, whether if not a single one of you was here, and it was just me by myself, I'm not raising the flag for you. I'm not raising the flag for the sole purpose to get Justin Trudeau's attention. That is not my sole purpose. That is not my sole reason. I'm raising the flag because it's an obligation on myself the same way it's an obligation on you. You have an obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise this flag in the name against oppression. You have an obligation to raise this flag so that way when the people in Gaza, when the children who lose their families and have nothing to look to, they can see someone in the West raising this flag, using their voice, and doing something that they are unable to do. So when someone asks you, why are you still protesting? Why are you still posting on social media? Why are you still boycotting? What difference is this gonna make? You tell them, whether it makes a difference or not, I'm gonna continue to do this because this is not about you, it's not about me. It's about fighting for humanity. It's about fighting against genocide. What if we all just stopped protesting? What if we all just stopped boycotting? What if we just stayed quiet? Would you rather protest or just stay quiet and stay at home saying free Palestine every here and there? Inshallah, something will change. Make your du'as, yes, but also come to the street and have your voice heard. Have your voice heard, not just by the people in Canada, but also by the people in Gaza, because they hear every single one of you. So we say time and time again, silence is betrayal. Because if you stay quiet, and the entirety of the world stays quiet, and the people in Maghrib, or the people in Amsterdam, they don't do what they do. Whether the Muqawmi that's in Gaza, that's in Palestine, that's in Yemen, that's in Lebanon, wherever they may be, if they stay quiet, what's gonna happen? How are we gonna get to a liberated Palestine? You think we're promised victory without putting any work in? You think we're promised victory just by making dua and having no action behind it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You get from this whatever you put in. And if your intentions are pure and you're doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're doing this for the sake of the children in Gaza, then inshallah victory will be soon. But if you decide, oh, I'm gonna miss this protest, I'm gonna not boycott this drink, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that, you're not benefiting anybody. So the point is, no matter how quiet our voice is, that voice has to be there. No matter how low that fire that's within you is, that fire has to be there. Imagine after the first month of this genocide we just gave up. What's the point? We're not hearing anything from Justin Trudeau. He's just calling us a bunch of Hamas supporters. He's just saying that we're terrorists. He's just saying this, he's just saying that. What if we just gave up right then and there? Would we have gotten as much people to see the Palestine flag? Would we have gotten as much people to support Palestine? Would we have gotten as much support for this cause, for this movement? Regardless of if we need that support or not, because we know once again that victory is promised to us. But why would we not want to spread our message to the people all across the West? So think to yourself, the louder that I am, the more that I do, I'm not doing this because I think 100% guaranteed that the people in Gaza are gonna see it. I can't guarantee you they're gonna see it. Who am I to say that they are gonna see and hear each and every single one of your voices? Meanwhile they're going through continuous bombardment after bombardment after bombardment. The same time that we're here right now, privileged in these streets, with our hats on, with our jackets on, with our kafiyas making us warm, the people in Gaza are having bombs dropped on them. So while you're here complaining about the cold and how hungry you are and how tired you are, they can't even get to complain. They don't get that opportunity. They don't get to think about what's gonna happen tomorrow. I said this before and I'm gonna say it again. The people in Gaza, wallahi al-azim, they have to think about, should I sleep in the same room as my family members? Or should we split up so that way when the bomb inevitably comes down to kill us, it wipes the entire family out? Should we separate so that way the family can live on? Or should we stay together? That way we're at least martyrs together. Do you understand how difficult that decision is? Meanwhile, we're here saying, oh, it's getting dark really, really early soon. Maybe I should just go home. What's the point of protesting? It's too cold today. What's the point of boycotting this drink? It's just one drink. No one's gonna see it. No one's gonna know what I do. Nobody but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever it is that you do, I'm not here to police you. I'm not here to tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. You do this for yourself and for your intentions. Because whether you boycott or whether you come to this protest, it doesn't change my life. It doesn't do anything for me. It does do something for the people in Gaza because they see the support. Someone like my father who is 80 years old, who is 4 years younger, 4 years older, 4 years older than this brutal occupation. Imagine that. Imagine being older than an entire entity, and your entire life you witness these murders, these killings, these massacres, this occupation, this Zionist regime. And somehow, some way, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has hope. My father, who is 80 years old, somehow still has hope. At the beginning of these protests, the very first one, I had my kufiya on, I had my Palestine hoodie on, and my dad asks me, where are you going? Baba, there's a protest. What do you mean there's a protest? There's a protest in Toronto? What are you guys gonna go do? Who are you gonna go protest against? No, Baba, there's a protest. Like, we're all gonna go, we're gonna raise the flag, we're gonna show how much we support the people of Gaza, the people in Palestine, and we're gonna stand up for them. You know, 80 years old, older mindset, they don't see the same way that we do. They don't understand that this truly is the generation of liberation. It's not just us saying these words. So after a while of these protests, I don't know how, but he managed to work TikTok. I don't even know how he managed to do this. But he started to see the live videos on TikTok of the people in Toronto, outside Toronto, all over Canada, all over North America, all over the world, protesting for Gaza. An 80-year-old man who is a Palestinian. So think to yourself, like, okay, for the non-Muslims, non-Arabs here, like, okay, think of your grandfather, think how stubborn, how hard-headed, Allah yahmihim, like, think how much they are. An Arab man that's 80 years old, that much more, okay? Is seeing these videos, these live videos of thousands and thousands of people, back when we had numbers all the way down to the end of the street, chanting for Gaza, chanting for something that he lost when he was 3 years old. Because that is when he had to flee on foot with his family. So this far after, this many years later, he is now seeing the generation of liberation. So whether you're young or whether you're old, every single one of you has a hand in this. Whether you decide to come to the protest today or next week or the week after, you have a hand in the generation of liberation. And when we say that in our millions and our billions we are all Palestinian, that is what it means to be Palestinian. We're tired after 1 year. Imagine the people that have suffered 76 years of this. Imagine the people that have been exiled. Imagine the people that have lost family, that have lost their homes, that have lost their mosques, that have lost their churches, that have lost their loved ones, that have lost literally every single thing. That is what it means to be Palestinian. That is what it means to have steadfastness. That is what it means to have resilience. Because to be a Palestinian is an honor. So when we say that you are all Palestinian like ourselves, it's an honor for you. And it's an honor for us to see you guys every single week standing in support with us. So again, no matter how much our numbers dwindle, it doesn't matter because we're still gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. Whether you are here or not, that's on you, that's on your conscience. It doesn't matter to me. Because at the end of the day, I know that victory is promised. I know what I'm doing is with pure intentions. I know what I'm doing has an end result. Whether you want to skip out on the next protest or whether you don't want to boycott, whether you don't want to post on social media, it's up to you and to your humanity. Because all the atrocities that we have seen in our history, We always look at ourselves and say, I would have been there. I would have done differently. This is your chance to be there and do differently. So don't let this opportunity slip from you. And no matter how much they hear us in parliament, in these governments, in the UN, it doesn't matter, because we are still going to continue to be here. Because we know that inshallah one day Palestine will be liberated from the river to the sea.